Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor K.P. Rao, Department of History, University of Hyderabad. Under the subject Indian Culture, paper Principles and Methods of Archaeology, we are going to learn one module on the survey methods in archaeology. In this method, today we are going to learn the contour survey. Usually, contour survey is carried out on any archaeological site when we decide to conduct very detailed studies on the site, like excavations and other related studies. So, for elevation survey, we use various kinds of equipment. That is, the dumpy level is the main equipment, and then we have various related equipment that we are going to learn later. So, in this module you are going to learn how to use the instrument dumpy level in taking the elevation readings, and how to make the entries in the data sheet, and then how to input the data, field data, into the computer program, and then how to generate contours as well as elevation models using the field data. Let us learn what is the definition of a contour. A contour can be defined as a line joining places of similar characteristics. It could be an elevation, it could be temperature, it could be humidity, anything, any character of similar nature can be defined by contours. And digital elevation model is a three-dimensional representation of terrain surface. For this, we use various kinds of equipment. That is, the dumpy level is the main equipment used in this survey, and we need a tripod stand to keep the dumpy level in the field, and then we need a level staff to take the readings in the field, and we need measuring tapes to plot the site with the grid, and then we need magnetic compass, which is mainly used for determining the orientation, that is north-south points. And then we need a field marker or field markers to prepare the grid, and then the marking labels to record the number of the grid, and then a field notebook to make the notings or to note down the readings that are taken in the field. Equipment. Among the equipment, as I was telling, dumpy level is the most important equipment we use in the survey. So, the dumpy level is also known as leveling instrument, and it is basically a optical telescope with a reticle or hairline on the objective lens side. We can use the plus mark in the field of view to take accurate readings. This telescope is mounted on a tri-brack platform for operating the instrument in a horizontal plane in any horizontal angle. The dumpy level has various parts. The important parts are eyepiece, that is through which we usually see and take the readings, focusing knob to focus the telescope to take proper readings, then the horizontal circle to know the angle at which we are taking the readings. There is a horizontal fine motion screw to adjust the reticle, and then leveling foot screws, that is to make the instrument horizontal. We use the foot screws to adjust the level, and then the base plate is usually mounted on the tripod. On the front side, there is the objective lens, which helps us in taking the readings in a very clear manner. And for leveling the instrument, we use a bubble level, which is usually also known as circular level, which is mounted on the or attached to the instrument itself. So, we have to see that the bubble in the bubble level is centered in the liquid. So, this before starting the survey, we have to prepare the site by first removing all the seasonal vegetation on the site, and then we have to prepare a grid sheet, contour survey grid sheet, and the same numbers in the grid sheet will be used to make the layout on the site. So, the usually the layout is done in east and west axis and north and south axis. East and west axis is the x axis, and north and south axis is the y axis. So, the numbers run from southwestern corner of the site, and they go on like 1, 2, 3, 4 like that in east west axis in the x axis, and north south axis, that is the y axis. And before taking the readings, first we have to set up the instrument. So, for setting up the instrument, first we have to extend the legs of the tripod to the about the height of the surveyor or the person who is going to use the instrument. And then after tightening the screws, we have to spread the legs in such a manner that it provides stable platform for mounting the dumpy level. When we spread the legs, we have to ensure that the legs won't slip at a later time. So, for that we have to see that the legs are firmly embedded in the ground by pressing with a foot on the shoe, that is the tripod shoe. We have to press the shoe into the ground, so that there is no possibility of any movement in the position of the tripod legs. Then after that, after setting the tripod firmly with the top in a horizontal manner, we have to mount the leveling instrument on the tripod with the help of the circular screw, which is there at the top of the tripod. Then after that, there is the important task of leveling the instrument by using the 3 foot screws. So, for leveling, what we have to do is, first we have to turn the telescope in such a manner that it is parallel to 2 of the foot screws. Then after that, using foot screws, 2 foot screws, we have to see that the round bubble comes in exactly in the center of the circle. So, once we adjust the bubble with the help of the 2 foot screws in such a manner that it is on the side of the foot screws, then we have to turn the telescope in 90 degrees angle, and we have to again adjust the bubble in such a manner that it is in the center of the circle. Once we do these 2 adjustments, then the dumpy level is adjusted on a horizontal level. So, if the telescope is turned in any angle, now it gives us a exact horizontal line of view. So, after setting up the instrument exactly at the required point, that is required point is usually determined by various factors. One of the factors that helps us in fixing the instrument is usually whatever area we select to do the survey, we have to see that the instrument is set up usually at the highest point of the survey area, or otherwise if the survey area is not very large, then even nearby the highest point of the survey area. And usually the center of the instrument, we call it as temporary benchmark. What is a benchmark? Benchmark is usually the measurement that indicates the mean sea level at that point. So, to determine the mean sea level, we can use various kinds of methods. One of the method is to use the topo sheet data, that is on the topo sheets there are permanent benchmarks which are marked. So, if some benchmark is nearer to the survey area, then we can use that benchmark and then we can project that benchmark onto the point that is required for survey. Or otherwise another method is to use the GPS, very sensitive GPS instrument to determine the MSL at that point. So, after determining the MSL at that temporary benchmark, we have to set up the instrument exactly above the temporary benchmark. Then what we have to do is to know the height of the line of sight that is presented by this dumpy level, we have to measure the height of the instrument. From the benchmark, the temporary benchmark to the height of the instrument, we have to measure and add it to the to know the height of the line of sight. So, for example, if the benchmark is 35 MSL, then and if the instrument height of the instrument is 1.5 meters, then that means the total height of the line of sight is 36.5 meters. So, like that we have to determine the height of the line of sight. Then we have to take measurements using the dumpy level, that is for taking the measurements we need survey pole. There are various kinds of survey poles. Some of the survey poles are made using wood, some of the survey poles are made in aluminum. Usually the aluminum survey poles are better, they are light and accurate, and there are various methods of marking the survey poles, but it is easier and advisable to use the survey pole which is marked with in metric system, that is in meters and centimeters. Usually on the survey pole the measurements are marked in such a manner that the red numbers indicate the meters and the black numbers indicate the centimeters. Usually if you see a number in red, that means that is indicating the meters, and then if you see a number in black, that is indicating the centimeters. But the centimeter numbers which are indicated in black have to be multiplied by 10. That means if you see 2 in black, then that means it is indicating 20 centimeters. So, we have to use this method, or we have to remember this while taking the measurements. So, for the survey, the field assistant has to hold the survey pole exactly above the nodes that are marked using the field markers, which are also attached with the node number. So, these readings which are taken in the field are entered into data sheet. So, we have to prepare the data sheet before starting the survey. So, usually the data sheet will have 5 columns. The first column A is X and the next column B is Y, and the third column is usually left blank for taking the measurements using the dumpy level. And in the fourth column, we have to enter the height of the temporary benchmark. So, whatever is the elevation at that temporary benchmark, we have to enter into column D, and column E is again empty. So, whatever measurements we take in the field, they are entered in column C, and after taking all the measurements, what we have to do is we have to subtract this number from column D, that is the height of the elevation at that temporary benchmark. Then we get exact height of the line of sight. So, this measurement after subtracting C from D column, we have to enter it in E. So, this readings in the E are the elevation data, which is used for generating contours and also the digital elevation model. So, for using software for generating the contours, we can use various kinds of programs. One of the program, a simple program, is Surfer. Surfer program, to use this data in the Surfer program, first we have to enter this data in Excel sheet. So, in Excel sheet, in the first column, we have to enter the numbers in the X column, and then in the second column, we have to enter the numbers in the Y column, and in the third column, we have to enter the elevation readings that are obtained in the field, which are shown in column E of the field data sheet. So, after entering into the Excel sheet, we can save the file and we can use this file to generate grid using the Surfer program. So, in Surfer program, if you click grid in the menu bar, then a drop down menu will come. In that, you have to select data. So, in the opened window, we have to select the file that we have prepared in Excel, and then we have to click open. So, when we click open, it prepares a file known as grid file. So, this grid file can be used for generating both contours as well as digital elevation model. So, after processing the data in Surfer program, we can close the two pop-up windows, and then we can now the Surfer program has automatically saved the grid file. We can use that grid file for generating contours as well as the digital elevation model. To sum up what we have learnt today, the contour drawing and digital elevation modeling is carried out to study the elevation features of an archaeological site. For carrying out this survey, we use dumpy level or leveling instrument. The site is marked with uniformly spaced grid, and then after setting up the leveling instrument, measurements are taken with the help of leveling staff. The readings are entered initially in the field notebook, and afterwards the elevation readings obtained at different grid points are entered in Excel program. We can use Surfer program to generate elevation contours or digital elevation model using these readings. Today, we have learnt the methods that are used in making contour survey. So, for this we have used various equipment and softwares. So, the important equipment is the dumpy level. We have learnt how to set up this dumpy level and how to measure the mean sea level at a place, and then we have learnt how to use various equipment for taking readings in the field, and these readings which are taken in the field, we have learnt also how to enter them in the required software programs, and then how to generate the grid file which is required for generating the contours as well as the elevation model. So, we also have learnt how to process this data in the surfer program to generate these contours and elevation model. The main objective of doing this elevation survey is to mainly study and record the elevation features of a site which is selected for intensive studies.